Welcome in, beautiful people, to the Paul Kuharsky podcast, live from Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. Lovely stadium. Feels bigger than I imagined it would. Very expansive, but this is partly what new Nissan Stadium, is going to feel like. Has the translucent roof. Brought to you by Edley's Barbecue, the best barbecue in and around Nashville. Go eat there. Support them. Order out. Their app is spectacular, and things are much less expensive than ordering through a delivery app. So check them out. Also brought to you by Brymac, which sends me on the road for all of these trips for all your commercial HVAC and plumbing needs. Their information is attached, as always, to my column from the road, which is up now, which is focused on the idea that staying the course with this offense is ridiculous. Got to stop throwing these asinine screens that don't produce anything. And Cam Ward himself said he's for both. If they stay in the course, they got to do a lot better on the course. But he's all about trying new stuff. He was terrible today. Lost two fumbles, threw an interception where his hand got batted. 26 of 38, sacked 6 times. A little bit of his doing, but obviously a very good pass rush keyed by Max Crosby. I think it's awfully early. A lot of you in there are saying Andrew Frill is saying Ward is not the answer. It's too early for that. Too early to say Cam Ward is not the answer. But look, if the Titans on offense try to do all this stuff, and I don't expect any dramatic changes on what they're going to try to do on offense. Their offense is their offense. Brian Callahan's offense is Brian Callahan's offense. He is married to it, and they're not going to do anything drastically different, and they're not going to have any big success with what they're trying to do. And Mike Vrabel will kill it. And I don't think the Titans have a good sense of, they thought they saw Raiders stuff underneath that made these screens and sideways passes appealing for them, and they gained like 0 yards on 5 attempts or something like that. Crosby made Latham look heavy-footed, Richard says. I don't disagree with that. I mean, Crosby is the kind of player that the Titans need. Now, Latham is the kind of player the Titans drafted to be able to slow down a guy like Crosby. So did anything go well today? I mean, the Titans held the Raiders to 13 points in normal circumstances. The Titans offense gave the Raider the ball on the 2-yard line with one of Ward's fumbles. So I think the scoring defense was reasonably good, and you can't complain about that. Jabari, says Latham is becoming a concern. Latham played, less than half a game in the first game of the season, and he played 1 game today against a tremendous player. Now, he has to do better than he did, but becoming a concern is a little fast. Let's let him play for a little while. Kent Crouch says offensive line clearly having communication issues. Thought Callie Sr. is an O-line guru. Yes, we've had this conversation. We have O-line talent, too many first rounders. Communication is a coaching issue or the players? Well, the coach teaches the players how to communicate. Then the players have to communicate. Everybody goes to the coach first. I go to the players first. Bill Callahan has not had the success here that he's had in other places. Clearly. The last 2 weeks, the offensive line's been better. Today, not. Somebody here saying Skoronski looked like a concern. Skoronski's a very good offensive lineman. If he had a bad day today, he had a bad day today. He's a good offensive lineman. Communication concern is bad. Improvement anywhere is not linear. Tajay Spears had 5 carries for 31 yards. That's a 6.2 average in the passing game. 4 catches for 19 yards, 4.8. Like him to do a little bit more. Callahan's not cut out to be a head coach. I mean, everybody's agreeing with that. Any word on BC throwing Cam Ward under the bus? I think BC said he needs to play better. Is that throwing him under the bus? Please don't encourage him to lie like every coach does and tell us that that he was good when he was 26 for 38 for 222 yards with 6 sacks, a touchdown, an interception, a long of 23, and 2 lost fumbles. Do you want him to say that Cam Ward was good? I don't. I don't want him to pretend anything was good. But that's not throwing Cam Ward under the bus. That's being honest about Cam Ward. So please don't ask him to say anything other than what he said, which was honest. Simmons said particularly that they had a bad Thursday, that they were flat on Thursday. I mean, what a professional group of guys that off of a win, they came out flat on Thursday and that it translated to Sunday. And why, when they had a great Thursday before they got shut out in Houston, didn't that translate? So a bad Thursday translates to a bad game, and a good Thursday translates to a bad game. So really, Thursdays are meaningless. But it's bullshit that they can't come out and practice well on a Thursday. I mean, goodness gracious, what an immature bunch. Talk tempo all week long, Dom says. Didn't do it until garbage time in the fourth. What's the best way to get your rookie quarterback into a rhythm early? Run, punt. Screen, false start, screen, punt. Yeah, not good. I mean, look, I said symbolically, coming off that fourth quarter, to tell your team, hey, we believe in what you did in that fourth quarter. We believe in what the quarterback did in that fourth quarter. Come out, throw something, right? Now, they ran the first 2 downs, and they got themselves into a 3rd and 1. That's a good result. Now, you fail to convert to 3rd and 1. That's a bad result. But I get what we all want in terms of carryover from the great fourth quarter in Arizona. Talk about it, you expect it, and then they run twice. Once you're in 3rd and 1, I'm not going to complain about you running. I don't think anybody should complain about running in a 3rd and 1. Then you complain about them not converting. I complain about that as well. All crap. Cards win was not pure luck. Look, Cards blew that game, but the Titans still had to drive the field 3 times to score, and the Titans did that. So the Titans had to take the luck and do something with it. And they did. There's something to be said for that. Now, I mean, they got some breaks. But the teams that the Titans play get breaks. Today, Cam Ward dropped the ball at the end of the game. Cam Ward fumbled the ball on the 2. We think the Raiders played an amazing game today. The Raiders took advantage of some mistakes. Raiders turned the ball over once. They played a smarter, cleaner game, but they also took advantage of somebody else's mistakes. Titans are usually the team that's making the mistakes. So it's okay for the Raiders to chalk up a win and to outplay the Titans and take advantage of the Titans' mistakes. Well, you have to let the Titans have their Arizona win. Country music sucks. Says he recalls an article I wrote during the Wisenhunt era in which I said the coaching was getting Mariota hurt. It was getting Mariota hurt. Do I see the same recklessness now with the poor protection? No, I don't see the same recklessness now because Ken Wisenhunt was leaving Will Svitek to pass protect one-on-one against J.J. Watt. Titans are not leaving their first off, Dan Moore is 10 times the player Will Svitek was, and he's not very good, but I think he's getting help. Latham is getting help. Cam is not getting, he's getting hit, but he's not getting hammered. Cam's got to get the ball out quicker sometimes. But I don't think it's the same level of stuff. I don't think Wisenhunt understood protecting. I think these guys understand protecting. It's not getting good enough protection in some places. I don't understand what's bad about this. John Gotti says, we're going to take an end with next year's number 1 pick. They should. I mean, they rushed the passer better today. They're rushing the passer better, but they need a star end, and they haven't drafted a first-round end since 2010. 15 years. No, there are no whispers about staff changes or potential trades. They're not going to be staff changes, I don't believe. Potential trades, we'll see. Yeah, I mean, Chris is saying what everybody's thinking. I think it's a lost year. Can only hope to parlay a top pick in a quarterback-heavy draft into multiple picks, and then multiple picks into good players. We need to see Kevin Winston soon. I think he's going to be a good player. Femi Oladejo, I hope he's a good player next year. I don't know. Maybe he's going to get better this year, but I don't know how much better. And then, didn't see much of it today, but I think DK and Helm and Isle Manor are good 4th-round picks. Say what you will about guard. I mean, Silky G, and this is far too popular a thing. Jackson Dart's had 2 good games, so Jackson Dart is the pick of the draft. I understand not having patience with the Brian Callahan thing. The patience for Brian Callahan is over, but that doesn't mean the patience for Cam Ward should be over. Got to see Cam Ward now with whoever's next in line coaching. I would expect this team should be selling players. If so, who's on the block? I would think everybody, maybe except Jeff Simmons. I don't know. And if they could get a 1st-rounder plus for Jeff Simmons, I think you have to think about it based on the timetable. As Orlovsky said when he replied to my ask on completion percentage and early success for Cam, no RPO, no play action, not enough rollouts, which he's always had success with, no baked-in schematics early on. I don't disagree with that stuff. I think there are reasons that they don't do RPOs that I can't get on the record. So, Jesus, with this Restrepo stuff. I mean, I know you don't trust them at anything. I think you should probably trust Borgonzi, say. Like, Borgonzi hasn't done anything terrible yet. Borgonzi's draft looks reasonable. And Borgonzi doesn't want Restrepo on the field right now. And you know why I know that? Because Restrepo's not on the 53-man roster, which Borgonzi controls. So what is the desperation for all of you to see Restrepo? I just don't understand it. They think Borgonzi, who's the one guy with any credibility, thinks Restrepo's worse than everybody that's on the field at receiver. But you give that no credence. You're like, I don't know. I don't want to insult everybody, but your Restrepo stuff is just like, I'll withhold. Yeah, see, Dennis, this is wrong. He sees a clip of practice from Tehran or Wyatt or me. Every clip is loud music and dancing around. These guys want a dance party, not to focus on improving. We're there during the stretch period of practice and the individual period, which are low-key periods. And guys, in fact, can like dance to the music when it's not their rep and also be serious. I'm not saying they don't need to be serious. I'm saying a guy dancing when it's not his rep is not the reason the Titans aren't good. Actually has zero bearing on it. Zero. Now, would you have them like stand in formation like a military operation and do that? Well, I guarantee you that's not what's going on at Pete Carroll's practice. When Mike Vrabel's team was very good, I can tell you from personal experience, that's not what was going on. So the idea that like this spins off into a thing like that guy has to be 24/7 football, but actually it's good for a guy to put in a good practice and put in a good work, then go home, play with his dog, hang out with his girlfriend, hydrate, rehab, and watch movies or play video games or do whatever and get his mind off work a little bit. Expectations can be ridiculous. So because a guy has been part of 5 losses and only 1 win, means that if he's moved to tap his foot to the music that's going on at practice, That's why they're not performing well. It's too much of a disconnect there. Who is worse, Wiz or Callahan? I mean, I will say, they're both terrible. Wisenhunt was kind of a mean guy. And the protection stuff that I'm talking about, where like he would put Will Svitek, who was very unskilled, one-on-one with J.J. Watt, was asinine. I think this staff is probably better. It's better at some positions. I don't know. It's a tough call. Callahan's having worse results. Ruben Nain Jr., somebody saying, except that his name is Bain. I'm going to sneeze. John Gotti says, was the fumble at the 2 also not roughing? I didn't see roughing. I didn't hear anybody in the press box talk about roughing. I didn't see helmet to helmet. Maybe there was. Wasn't a big conversation about it. I wrote in my column, I think there's a bloodbath coming from Vrabel. I think he's not going to say anything about it, but when the time comes, he will send a message to Amy Adams-Strunk, to Brooke Nyhill, to Chad Brinker, and it's going to be a bloodbath. Terrible. A. Bishop says, can't accurately assess any player's abilities under this coaching staff. There's zero justification for keeping them any longer. So A. Bishop would fire the coaching staff with 11 games left. I don't know who A. Bishop would have coach the players, because A. Bishop apparently thinks that there are coaches, NFL caliber coaches, just out there. Titans coaching staff is probably 22 people. And I don't know where you would find replacements for any of them. Maybe a couple. What is it? The UFL that has something coming up. Excellent coaches available there. Yeah, Dom asks about the ineptitude of the scheme. After some of the designs today, explain the screen to Lockett. A god-awful yak receiver with DK, a non-existent blocker, as the sole blocker. It's gross. Here's another one. There was one where Cam got sacked very quickly that looked like the intention was to go to Spears to the left. So Spears was motioning across the play, and he had not completed his motion to the left flat when the ball was snapped. There was a jailbreak on Ward, and Ward was under pressure before Spears got to where he wanted to be on the left. So it makes no sense to me why you're not letting him get to where he needs to be at the snap. I don't know. It's just crazy. They're terrible at screens. I mean, I've got a lot of comments here. Terrible at screens. Ridley would have made a difference. Jim's saying that. Appreciate the compliment, Jim. I think Ridley would have made a difference, he said. Cam has got to get rid of the ball when he's pressured better. I agree with that. I mean, Ridley's their deep threat. Other people have to be able to do that. They're also missing Bryce Oliver, who I think people underrate and forget about, but would be a better alternate option. Jefferson made a few plays, but down Ridley a week after he has a breakout game is very unfortunate. Yeah. I mean, Jaden, I've been answering this time and time again. I think they're trying to be patient with Callahan. I think they don't see much to gain by firing him right away, right now. And I don't think it'll happen this week. Is this a IR level injury for Ridley? I don't know. I don't suspect so, but I don't know. No, I don't think they would trade Skoronski. Um, so I should have put him on the list. I mean, there are probably a few guys. They're not going to trade rookies like Eilman, or people wouldn't come calling about them. They're not trading Latham. They're not trading, Skoronski. They're not trading Moore. Nobody would come calling for Moore, but they don't have anybody that could play left tackle. Not that he's a good left tackle. They're not trading Cedric Gray. I'm looking on the other side of the ball here. But I don't think there are a whole lot of people that would be off limits. Somebody's telling me to get ready for Amy to be embarrassed by Vrabel. I said I think it's going to be a bloodbath. You don't have to prepare me for it. McNair needed to sit and watch. McNair went to Alcorn State. Cam, went to Washington State and Miami. And the league has changed. Quarterbacks don't get the luxury of sitting and watching. Not the number one overall pick. Yeah, there's no Chandler on this roster, and the league has changed. Look, somebody else said, it makes no sense for him to be playing. I got a tweet about that today. Playing these games is still of great value to him. I mean, it sucks to endure and all of that, but he's got to play them, got to endure it, take the lumps. I mean, Peyton Manning, I'm not saying Cam Ward is Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning threw 1 billion interceptions as a rookie. A lot of guys' first year was a nightmare. He's not surrounded by good enough help. He's not playing well enough. I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. I think he's got good skills, and a good head on a good football sense, but he needs time. He needs time. Yes, this is the worst Titans team I've covered, and I've covered all of them. Simmons is going to want a massive deal after this year, says Kenny Gore. That is why he's playing so relentlessly. New agent, new attitude. He wants 35 to 40 a year. Get that first plus if you can, or pay him. I mean, they're going to have to pay somebody. My philosophy on if you move away from Simmons is that you do so thinking that you'd use a later pick to get, a good, hopefully defensive tackle, but that you've got to put resources into edge, receiver, cornerback. And these are positions that the Titans need to do more with higher picks. So that's it. Pollard, A. Bishop. I forgot the question I asked. Hey, Bishop, you haven't answered me where you're getting coaches. Where you're getting a coaching staff of 22. A. Bishop says Pollard, Key, Ridley, and Snead should be shopped aggressively. Take whatever you can get for them. Trade Jeff if you can get a first. Anything else is a bonus. I think you got to get 2 picks for Simmons. Pollard, Key, Ridley, and Snead are not bringing big returns. Ridley is making gigantic money. So that's going to be tough too. Restrepo, again with this. Restrepo is not the next receiver in line. Did you see who they called up last week when they needed a receiver? It wasn't Restrepo. It was Prochet. Hey, I'm sorry. Am I okay in here? I'll be like a half hour. Is that all right? Sorry? Oh, it's okay. I'm in your space. Okay. The cleaning people. Been flat the entire season, MP2 says. The team has taken on the personality of the coach. It's a little bit to be said for that. I mean, he is not the most fiery guy. I like a fiery coach. Um, I think sometimes too much is made of that. But in this circumstance, when we've seen a season plus 6 games of Callahan, there certainly is an issue there. How much roster turnover? It's a good question, and something I should maybe get into. Like how many? I think it's more than one off season of roster turnover. Yeah, hey Bishop, I'm done taking your questions until you answer where this new coaching staff is coming from. Yeah, Elliot says, is Callie still able to inspire our guys, or has he just started to lose the locker room? You're right about BC being honest about Ward. It just didn't sit right with me. Well, you got to stop being soft. I'm sorry, Elliot. This team is soft, and now the fan base is soft. And look, the coach sucks, and he's taking accountability, I think. But also, if the coach can't be honest about the quarterback, I just what do you want him to say about the quarterback? This sense of entitlement where nobody could say anything honest about anybody drives me insane. I want to get off that topic. The update on the Ridley injury is he didn't finish the game with the hamstring. I am anti-Restrepo. I don't think Restrepo solves a thing. Kenny Gore says there's an ocean of a talent gap between this roster and what Vrabel is working with. It's going to be like a scene from Deliverance. Well, I mean, I haven't watched the Patriots. I haven't had a chance to watch the Patriots closely, but the biggest difference is that Drake May is playing big time football. I don't think the Patriots roster is fantastic. I think they're being coached well, and some guys are maximizing things. So KB is going to bet every penny in his sports betting account on the Patriots. What's the early spread? Oh, just money line. That's smart. How much was Burke Nihill involved in Vrabel's firings? Amy Adams Strunk's decision, but that's her president of the organization. So I would imagine he was involved. Warned of a sneeze, and I sneezed twice. Well, I mean, I got away from the microphone, right? You're rooting for the Patriots as a die-hard Titans fan. Now, I'm going to have to throw a flag on that. You're not a die-hard fan if you're rooting for your team to lose. I'm a die-hard New York Yankees fan. I can't recall ever in my life rooting for the Yankees to lose. I'm sorry. There's no circumstance under which you root for your team to lose. And I know you all get carried away with the draft thing and all of that. I just don't buy it. I don't. Yeah. Country Music says if Callahan and Taylor get fired during or after this season, that coaching tree will probably never be employed in the NFL again. I believe most of Cincy and Burrow's success is thanks to Jamar Chase. Yeah, none of it's Burrow. I mean, I think you're a little overboard there. And I don't think there's any way Taylor's getting fired. You remember Marvin Lewis and how long he was employed? Jesse, I think that they should be running more tempo and doing everything that favors Cam's game that they can. And I don't understand why they don't do that. I don't think a coach can make players beta. I mean, Brian Callahan can't make Jeffrey Simmons play like a beta. CW would fire Callahan 100% because all he does is make his players beta like he is. fire the GMs too. Well, there's one GM. He's Mike Borgonzi. He's been employed for a year. I don't see any circumstances under which he is fired. Ken says, got to excuse the over-emotional fans. Well, part of my job is to talk reason. Yes, he needs to be fired, but you can't fire him until you find a coach you can definitely replace him with. That's not true. A new coach can't fix this midseason. That's true. But coaches get fired during the season without replacements lined up. You hire a coach in January. Coaches get fired November, December all the time. Sometimes they get fired earlier. I just don't really know, like, outside of making people feel better, what it's going to do. I don't know, Chris Corin. Next Titans coach, he says Joe Brady, Kingsbury, or McCarthy. Got to go offense for Cam. I have some concerns about Brady. Kingsbury was a disaster as a head coach, college and the pros. McCarthy is intriguing, but I worry about him being a dinosaur a little bit. I don't know if you have to go offense. I think some of the best candidates are defense if they have offensive coordinator solutions. Robert Saleh, Brian Flores are very good candidates. I don't think Country Music Sucks is asking if they ever interviewed or seriously considered a college coach. I can't remember one. I think they're going to hire somebody that's got head coaching experience for sure, and ideally head coaching experience at the pro level. Yeah, see, if you say Kyle Ryan says Fossil would at least get the team to care. Most are checked out. And you think that's a Brian Callahan problem. I think that's a player problem. Players are obligated to be checked in. Obligated. They're collecting paychecks. So if you think that's a problem with this team, you should have a problem with the players, not with Brian Callahan. I thought a dud was pretty likely, Marcos. Did I think they would show up today, or was I expecting a dud? I thought it's far more likely they'd be the team that they were for 4 games and 3 quarters than the team they were for a quarter. Jimmy wants to know why the quarterback coach is calling plays and not Nick Holtz. You can go back and look at a lot of stuff. We've covered that pretty thoroughly. I'm Paul Kuharsky. This is Paul Kuharsky Podcast. Join my site for just $7.50 a month, less than a quarter a day. I've covered the team since 1996 when they were the Houston Oilers, and I lived in Houston, not far from the Astrodome. I've written for the Tennessean and ESPN.com before I started my own thing. Got Mike Herndon, who writes for me, great analytics guy. Drew Beatty, who does film work. Braden Gall, who's doing draft advanced stuff, telling us what we should be looking for in the college ranks. And Blake Bedingfield, who is instrumental in the Titans drafting Derrick Henry, who tomorrow will have a file breaking down what we saw from a scouting perspective. Most unique insights on the Tennessee Titans at paulkuharsky.com. I'm sponsored by Edley's Barbecue, as you can see over here. Great Nashville barbecue, best meal in town. They've got an app. They'll deliver stuff to your house if you're in range. It's hard not to be in range given all of their locations. They won't rip you off with delivery fees like everybody else. So check them out. What the heck happened to the kicker? He got hurt in last week's game, managed to finish it, but it did not settle down, his calf, and so they signed a guy to practice squad and called him up, Matthew Wright. Kenny Gore playing doctor. He believes with Ridley's playing style, the hamstring will keep him out 4 weeks. Likely don't IR him like they did with Latham, to be honest. Thank you for your injury assessment. Brandon Lewis. Announcers were acting like Jefferson was performing like Megatron tonight. I'm not sad that I don't listen to the low-level announcers. Callahan is stubborn, Clint says, about screens being a part of the run game. He continues this nonsense instead of building the fourth quarter success from Arizona, one of many small things that should get him fired. I think that's a big thing. And I wrote in my column, he says some of those screens are actually run solutions. Well, they're not solving anything. I call them sideways waste plays. That's what they are, right? I didn't notice Winston on defense. He might have been out there some, but I don't think they're ready to take plays away from Diggs. I think that will be a difficult moment for them, but necessary. Nathan, thank you for the kind words. I appreciate that. Focus is trying to understand why you didn't fire Callie in the offseason. Obviously, some coaches were available. Some coaches are available every offseason, Focus. Chad must have convinced them to wait, recognizing trash season was loading. They didn't fire him in the offseason because they want to be a team that fires everybody in constant succession. I mean, look, the Titans are one of 32. They're going to be able to hire a coach. But if you fire Rand and Callahan that quickly, everybody around the league is going to say, hey, avoid the Titans. You're not going to last very long there. And you might get paid for 4 years, but you might only get 1 year, and it's going to put your career in the dumpster. If you don't, you're not going to get any time to instill your program. They're still going to say that when Callahan gets fired after 2 years. They're going to say the general manager had 2 years and the coach had 2 years, and they fired a great coach before that. And they fired a GM who GM circles respected, despite the fact that his stuff went to shit, and that she's firing people left and right, and that the organization's out of control. And it's going to be tougher and tougher to get people. You think McCarthy's an automatic here because he's friends with Borgonzi and Brinker, but what if McCarthy, if they want McCarthy, if somebody else wants McCarthy? Is he going to come because of Brinker and Borgonzi, or is he not going to come because of Amy Adams Strunk and go somewhere else where ownership looks more settled? That's a bigger factor than you guys are given credit for. Would you want to come work for Amy Adams Strunk if you could go work for name the team whose owner you might not have heard of, or whose owner is a steadier hand? That's an issue. Has Levis injuries got them gun shy of quarterback draw designated quarterback runs? Mark Hankins asked. Cam Ward is not a great runner. I mean, you might do it, to convert a third down here or there as a surprise, but he's not much of a running quarterback. People have a mistake there. So far, has Ward failed the Titans, or have the Titans failed Ward? Doesn't have to be one or the other. They're failing each other. Again, Dom says multiple times now players talking about no energy practices and coming out flat in games. That directly alludes to coaching. At this point, I just need bones to inject some life. It is what it is. I'm not necessarily following your line of things. Coaches do not run around at practice. Now, is it partially on coaches? Yes. But I disagree with you that it's directly on coaches' practice energy. Players are the energy providers. Players are the ones running around. Now, if there's shit energy at practice, you should stop it. You should round people up. You should yell at them. You should tell them to get their shit together. You should get all of that stuff going. Absolutely. To that degree, it's on coaches. But a coach, as players say over and over again, is not running plays, is not throwing balls, is not catching balls, is not breaking up passes, is not rushing the quarterback, is not running the scout team, is not executing plays. And I'm not in any way saying this is a well-coached team or that they're doing good work, but you just fly right by the players. If Thursday is a flat practice, where's Jeff Simmons? He said himself he needs to lead better in that situation. Where's Tony Pollard? Where's Amani Hooker? Where are the rest of the captains? If they're recognizing it as flat in the moment, you go over to Callahan and say, hey, this is fucking flat. Let's do something about it together, coaches and players. But why is it all on the coaches? I mean, I think it's on both. But to give 53 guys a free pass and say the one guy's got to do it is kind of crazy to me. They're veterans on this team. Where's Quandre Diggs? Where's Simmons? Where's Key? Key might have been out on practice. But, I mean, go down the list. Where Cushenberry? Where's Zeitler? Where's Pollard, who's a captain? Where's Hottie Ward? Where's Sebastian Joseph Day? Where's Cody Barton, who's making pretty good money and was in to be an energy guy and a leader? Where's Snead? Where's Hooker? Where's Woods? Those guys aren't allowed to do anything about the energy? Vrabel says energy comes from making a play. Who's making a play at practice? Probably the same guys that aren't making a play out of here. Soft team. Somebody said in here, soft team. Bishop keeps commenting despite the fact that there's no answer to where we get this coaching staff on October 12th. Missed on Scattaboo. I don't know where Scattaboo went compared to where they decided to pick a running back. Missed on Dart. Dart's played 2 games. Come on. Some coaches are so bad they drain the players' energy and will not go to extra effort for bad coaches. Yeah. I mean, that's true, I presume. It's not very professional by players. CVB says Cam Ward is the next Jamarcus Russell. Dude has 4 touchdowns in 6 weeks. I'm guessing that you can't find 4 touchdowns in 6 weeks from Jamarcus Russell. I'm guessing. Look, I hate to be put in position to defend things that I don't want to defend. Cam Ward's been shitty outside of that one quarter. But I don't think you make a big quarterback judgment on 6 weeks. I don't. I think it's too little. It's too little. Just like I think you're crazy to think that Jackson Dart's a savior off of 2 games. It's crazy. Callahan is not going to make it past this year. He's not a good coach. But I don't think he's single-handedly responsible for the practice energy on a Thursday. I also think, here's Nathan. Do I think Cam regression could make the front office worry that if things don't change, it could be ruined? He's not regressed. He never did anything. To regress, you have to go backwards. When was he particularly good? I mean, he went from bad to worse, but he's never been good so far. So, I think the Titans are correct to say it's hard to regress when you've played so little and you haven't really done anything yet. And no, I don't think he's going to be ruined. I think unlike a lot of the Titans, he's not soft. Focus. I've said it's a desirable place to work, and I think it is ultimately a desirable place to work. But I think if you keep doing what you've been doing, you increasingly make it a less desirable place to work, which is a reason why they're doing what they're doing. You can't give Callie another year, I don't think, unless there's some remarkable turnaround to doing. And hiring is more important than ever. They have to hit a home run on this next hire. I don't have any faith that they will. I mean, their last string of hires, I think Borgonzi looks like a good hire, but it's early to tell. I think he looks like a good hire. But Rand Carthon, I thought was a bad hire from the start. I couldn't really say that much about it, but I had people telling me. Callahan, I thought was a good hire. I'm not going to go back and say it was a bad hire. It's turned out to be a bad hire, but I had no qualms about it when they hired him. And I think a lot of you are doing retroactive history that's not fair. He was a fine candidate. Sometimes fine candidates turn out to be shit. This quarterback draft class, CVB says, is the same as the 2013 class. Just pick a quarterback and good luck. Well, the thing is, people are probably going to fall in love with some of these quarterbacks, don't we think? That's what you hope for if you're a Titans fan. You want people falling in love with these quarterbacks. fall in love with these quarterbacks and come and get them. And, the Titans, you would expect, based on what they look like, are going to be up near the top with the Jets, Saints. Who else is terrible? And you need people to come up and get one of these quarterbacks. Hopefully you can make a Mariota type of deal. The deal you made the year after you drafted Mariota. And then, get yourself some of those picks, get yourself some of those drafts like you did when you had the Derrick Henry pick. Yeah, I mean, this is just a slow starting offensive team for a long, long time. Even McNair needed a long time to get going, but they had a solution with McNair where they threw it to Wycheck to kind of get him going. They need that, and they haven't found it. They can't find it. They can't find it. They can't find anything. Can't find anything. Well, Daniel, they took DK over Scatterboo. I mean, first off, again, Scatterboo's had a couple good games, and we're making him a Hall of Famer. I think a little bit much. But they wanted to get receivers and pass catchers in that fourth round with their 3 picks. And that's what they took. They took Mullings in like the 6th or 7th round. So they were not taking a running back that high. Now, next year, they're going to address running back higher, either in free agency with a free agent, that's not higher, or higher than the 7th round, certainly. I wouldn't go much higher in the 4th round to get Tony Pollard's replacement. People find running backs there. Where's the David Thornton of this defense? He's nowhere. Cedric Gray is coming along. I mean, there aren't that many guys who are not the problem. Cedric Gray is not the problem. Cedric Gray is turning out to be a pretty good player. That's 3 weeks in a row. He's been pretty good. If you didn't see it, Mike Herndon wrote about him and showed a lot of film last week on Thursday. Definitely worth a read at paulkuharsky.com. To be fair, country music sucks. Thanks. Head coaching candidates would understand why the Titans would have fired Callahan after 1 year. Vacancies exist in the first place because they're all dumpster fires. I get your point, but also they would have fired Callahan after 1 year after firing Vrabel for a downturn after very good things. So they're not patient with the coach who the Patriots jumped to get when they were able to get him. Who did very good work in Tennessee and had a 2-year downturn. So they weren't patient with that. And they weren't patient with the new guy. Again, people have thought that it wasn't a good job because of, for a lot of reasons. I think the job security reason is the biggest thing that makes it dangerous. And she's become, I don't think she's just kind of reclusive in terms of media or visibility. I think she's less visible to the people that report to her. I just think it's gotten weirder. All right, repetitive questions there. Couple more, and I'm going to leave this fine stadium and go gamble all night. Or find something small to eat, go to bed, because I got a flight at like ridiculously early in the morning. Elliot, I'm not saying these things are not true. I think it was a mistake to move on from Vrabel, but you can make the case that it was time to move on from Vrabel. So two things can be true. It was time to move on from Vrabel, and Callahan ultimately isn't the solution. A third thing could also be true, that her handling of both of those situations makes it has made it now a less attractive situation for the third guy in relying to that. What other media am I on this week? I'll have a football show tomorrow. Not sure what time, because Titans press conference is later than usual because of the West Coast game. Robbie and Rex Road, Wednesday morning, 7:30 to 9. Midweek report, Wednesday around 4 o'clock. And the Paul Kuharsky podcast, Friday at 10:30. Thank you for asking. Does DK fill in for Ridley, or will they go with Jefferson? Yeah, I think they'll probably go more with Jefferson, but I think Bryce Oliver will be ready to come back, so he'll be in the mix as well. Jim Stamos asks what I play. I am a blackjack guy, though not much. I did play for a while last night, and I did reasonably well. CW, we're still arguing old stuff, says Vrabel at minimum should have been given one more season here. He had already proved he's a good head coach that could work through a lot of adversity. I think the same, and I actually think that John Robinson should have gotten one more year. Why do I keep selecting the first flight on Southwest airline? Time to switch to United like you. No. I picked the first flight because I got to get back to Nashville because there's a press conference to attend. Now, they keep kindly moving the press conference back, but I didn't know they were doing that when I booked the flight. So I get back as early as I can, as is the habit of most of us in the press. I have a United credit card, and I like United okay, and Southwest about to shoot themselves in the foot. Yeah, Dom says, this isn't a Restrepo post, he swears, but with how slow developing this offense is, the last thing anyone should be worried about is how fast a receiver can run. Everything they do is sludgy and stiff. That's correct. And what they need to do is correct that and make things faster and not sludgy and not stiff. And the person who's not going to help them do that is Xavier Restrepo. Press conference tomorrow, somebody cares, is 2:30. I have time because he shows up late. Yeah, that 7 minutes doesn't really change my flight. Jeffrey Toledo says, can I answer that? No, Jeffrey. I have not memorized your previous question from earlier in the conversation. I apologize. What else do we have here? Yeah, so Southwest is totally botching this assigned seating thing, and it's the fault of the people who think they want assigned seats. But what they don't realize is that by asking for assigned seats, they're slowing down the process. And by slowing down the process, Southwest will have a few less flights. And by having a few less flights, they're going to raise the prices. And the reason you liked Southwest in the first place is because it's cheaper than the other airlines. And it's soon not going to be cheaper than the other airlines. And everybody's going to get in their assigned seat and say, man, this is more expensive than it used to be. I wonder why. And the answer is because you wanted a fucking assigned seat. Why couldn't you just get in the boarding lanes like everybody else? There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It was fast and efficient and on time and also cheaper. Idiots. Yeah, Cody, you're wrong about that. You're wrong about that. What else we have? I'll take one or two more, then we're getting out of here. Eat at Edley's Barbecue in Nashville. Join paulkuharsky.com. I want 3 new subscriptions out of this conversation. $7.50 a month. You get. Here's another thing you get. You get text notifications in your text that these are about to go live, and so you'll find out. Hey, Paul's podcast is about to go live. I can jump in on YouTube or on X/Twitter I don't have to worry about what time it starts. I'll get the text. I'll hit the button. I'll be in the YouTube conversation. Bang. Notification like nobody else offers. Terrific. And then you can, if you miss it, you'll know when it's there, and it'll also be available. All of these are on YouTube and on X and on Facebook Live, and then they live there, and you can also listen to them later on Apple, on Spotify, and on iHeart. How do we get a franchise quarterback if we keep winning silly games like this? There is no circumstance, Megalodon, where the Titans draft a quarterback in 2026. Zero. Cam Ward gets 2 years minimally, probably 3, to prove that he is or is not their guy. Richard says they're playing with fire, using up the play clock before snapping the ball. It will bite them soon. Hey, what's another delay of game or two? Favorite meal in Vegas, the pan fried at the Oyster Bar. I had for the first time. It was absolutely phenomenal. We managed not to wait in line for a very long time. Where is that? It's at Paradise, or what's it called? Anybody know what I'm talking about? It's absolutely terrific. I should know the name of the place off the top of my head. What's it called? Who's been there? Palace Station. Go there, but you have to go there at like 7 o'clock in the morning. Stokely, with our final question, says Callahan seems hesitant to call out officiating errors. Is that a contractual thing with the team? No. Contractual thing with the team. Or do I think it's his personality not to question stuff in the media availabilities? You get fined if you call out officials. And almost all coaches do their very best not to call out officiating because they don't want to get fined. It's not a Callahan thing. It's a NFL coach thing. Every once in a while, one of them gets so heated up that they can't stop themselves and they question it. Today, I don't think the Titans had an argument. I think both passes that were judged to be incomplete passes, one by Geno Smith and one by Cam Ward, were in fact incomplete passes. I mean, if your hand's going forward, pushing the ball in any way, shape, or form, it is an incomplete pass. Fair to be disappointed in J.C. Latham today? Yes. Fair to be disappointed in him overall? Too soon. He was fat last year, and he's changed position, and you got to see a slimmer version on the other side. You cannot move on from Cam Ward after 6 games. It's just crazy talk. Give Borgonzi the keys. He can turn this around, says David Banner. Get Brinker and his useless analytics model out of here. Borgonzi's picking the players. I absolutely believe it. He's got the contractual clause where he's got the player personnel power. So I don't think you need to worry about Brinker in that. All right, kids. It's been real. I appreciate the great audience out there. Check out paulkuharsky.com. Check out Edley's Barbecue. Don't block the box, and be sure to lock your locks. Look for a football show tomorrow. And Blake Bedingfield's file, breaking this whole thing down. I'll have something else tomorrow morning that's of interest. And I'll be at Brian Callahan's press conference with some reaction after that, at the very least, on your social media outlets. Very much appreciate you being here. It's been interesting to be at Allegiant. Always interesting to see new stadiums and spread the wings throughout new NFL cities. I appreciate you. Have a great night. See you soon.